Throughout her journey, Frieren has acquired an array of Doohickeys, including spells, grimoires, and various other rewards that are often deemed useless by characters in the story. However, we'll be the ones to judge their true value. Join me as I delve into each one, providing a medium-depth explanation of how she got them and ranking them, somewhat unreliably. Let's get started. The very first reward Frieren receives that we see in the series is a folk magic scroll that produces hot tea. It doesn't explain what kind of tea it produces, it's just hot tea. This reward was given by an old man in the Central Lands at the Turk region for the help that Frieren and Fern provided in loading some pumpkins in a carriage. Now the spell is going to be useful depending on who you ask. As a coffee drinker, I'm not really that hyped about this spell in terms of leisure, but if you asked me this question a year ago, then this will be in Class S since we had a cafe that sells coffee and tea beverages, and that would really be helpful for the business. Sadly, that business closed down, so I got to put it down to E since that spell reminded me of depression. I won't put it at F since I might have some friends over that would like some tea. In the same chapter or episode, depending on what you follow, Fern also mentioned that they were rewarded with a spell that removes rust from bronze statues and a spell that turns sweet grapes into sour ones. Regarding the rust cleaning spell, I understand it could be very helpful in the medieval era, where I can imagine there were tons of bronze statues around to clean. That could have been a lucrative side hustle or career for some. However, in the modern age, I don't think I can even recall seeing many bronze statues in my entire life, making it somewhat useless, so I'll rank it as F. Now, if it could clean other bronze items like trophies or medals, then maybe it could rank higher. But since it specifically mentions bronze statues, the ranking stands. Now, let's go over to the spell that turns sweet grapes into sour ones. I can't lie, the demographic for the people who will love this spell is really low. I mean, if you open a store selling these, you will have eyes in as a customer, along with maybe some people who are suffering from diabetes and also have a surplus of sweet grapes lying around. So maybe you can fill that gap in the market for those people. E rank. The next one is not actually a spell, it's just some knowledge about flora in the Turk region. This reward is for them cleaning Himmel's statue and putting some blue moonweed flowers around it. It's not a spell, but the knowledge in flora may be helpful if there are particularly rare flowers in that region that are potent medicinal herbs or some powerful effects like letting a demon walk under the sun. But for me personally, I'll put it in F for obvious reasons. Flowers suck. In Frieren's travels, she also receives some rewards like fake grimoires that says it's from the Great Mage Flam. In this entry specifically, this was given for their task of cleaning the beach of Grand Channel from the Central Lands. It's good for collectors and hoarders who collect junk items. I'll rank it at C since I can probably sell that at eBay for a few $100s and buy a new chair. The following spell came from a grimoire that was found in a solar dragon's nest. It's a spell that lets you see through clothes. Frieren also mentioned that it is a grimoire that she has been looking for, so it's probably for a good cause that she is even willing to risk their life to get it. And with Stark's help they prevailed without that much challenge. We then can see Fern very ecstatic in using it for the very first time. Personally, I'll put it at the S rank. I don't want to go into detail in the specifics about how I'm going to use that spell since we have limited time in this video, but it's going to be mostly for medicinal and biological purposes. Let's move on. During the time of the hero party, Frieren and the rest of the gang went in a dungeon to get the spell inside a chest to create shaved ice, much to Aizen's irritation. One negative aspect is that it does not produce any syrup on its own. It was revealed in a special chapter that they were able to find a spell for that as well. However, it's uncertain if that event is considered canon. This spell is incredibly useful not just for making shaved ice snacks, but also for everyday life. If you have this spell, you can always enjoy a cold drink anywhere, as you'll have access to ice. This easily makes it an S-rank spell. We have another fake grimoire, said to be from Flam, about the protective barrier that was protecting Graf Granat's domain. This grimoire was given to Frieren as a reward for defeating Aura the Guillotine, a fearsomely cute great demon and part of the 7 Sages of Destruction. Both Graf Granat and Frieren knew that the grimoire was fake, but Frieren does not care about the little details as long as she gets to satisfy her hobby. F rank. In this entry, we have the iconic potion that dissolves clothes, which Frieren bought without the consent of her guardian, Frieren. Frieren is a very good student, and she remembers her master's words regarding what men want to receive, even after 1,000 years. A lot of this rare potion was poured into Frieren's thoughts after Frieren found out about it, but we did see it as very effective. Depending on how you use it, it can either be a rank F or an A. But for me, I'll put it in A. How about you? Now we move on to the clutch spell that saved our resident degenerate priest, Sane. It was not revealed how Frieren came to possess this spell, but one thing is for sure, without it, Sane would have been a goner, as there is no way Frieren would stretch out her hand and get dirty. This spell, while not needed most of the time in your life unless you live in a fantasy world or a swamp, would be nice to have when you need it. B rank. For the next one, we have the spell that caused widespread diabetes in an entire anime community due to its sweetness. It's the spell for finding lost accessories, given by a merchant in gratitude for helping him cross the bandwidths in the northern lands. The merchant, coming in with this specific spell, proved to be a true MVP by helping save a very important item of remembrance from Himmel that signifies his true feelings for Frieren, although it was unrequited throughout his lifetime. Wait, I thought this was supposed to be sweet. Anyway, I'll put this on S rank, considering the effects and not to mention the massive AoE. When Frieren and the gang arrived at the fortress city of Vorig, they were asked if Stark could pose as a lord's son. Once they completed this quest, they were rewarded with 10 gold straws and a grimoire from their library. I don't know exactly how much 10 gold straws are worth in our world, but Fern said it's enough to feed them 3 meals a day. And after using ChatGPT to calculate, it amounted to a pretty big sum per person. But we need to consider that all 4 of them stayed there for a few months to get it, along with an unnamed grimoire. So, I'll give it a whopping A rank. During Frieren's travels, as per her words, they sometimes arrive at magic shops run by shady old men, and she explains that those places tend to have some legendary spells that she can obtain. 2 of the said spells are the spell to get rid of mold and the spell to remove tough oil stains. Even Fern mentioned that those spells were certainly useful, even going so far as to say that they were life-changing. I couldn't agree more. These spells would be used in everyday life and would make life much easier and safer. Always remember that cleanliness is next to godliness. S rank. The next one is the spell to make clothes clean and spotless, which is the spell that Fern requested from Siri after reaching first-class mage status. I believe that out of all the new first-class mages, Fern was the one who picked out the best one. This continues with my point earlier and would also receive the same rank of S. Frieren arrived in Fable Village and was tasked with polishing the statue of the hero of the South, the Chad of all men. After completing the task, she was rewarded with a spell to scratch the itchy parts on your back. I have no words to express how useless this is and would just call my friend to explain. F rank. Frieren and the party were once tasked with hunting down a demon who had stolen a family heirloom sword that belonged to a noble. After completing the quest, they were given a spell to turn red apples into green apples. This is similar to the spell for the grapes since red apples are sweet and green apples are sour. So, I'll put it in the same place. D rank. Upon reaching the northern plateau, Frieren's party encountered numerous monsters over the next 3 days. Fortunately, they arrived at a village where they were offered a comfortable place to rest in exchange for defeating a powerful monster that was obstructing the road and preventing merchants from entering the village. In return, they received free lodging. Yes, I know, it's just lodging at an inn, so I can't rank it too highly. However, given the circumstances, the timing must have been perfect. D rank. A seemingly useless spell that came from Mommy. Method. The spell that prevents eggshells from falling in when cracking eggs was given to Frieren after she agreed to let Method pat her head, much to Fern's irritation. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think I've ever encountered this problem during all my years of never cooking eggs, so this goes down to F rank. During their travels, Frieren's party was also tasked with slaying dragons for a village, and for their efforts, they were awarded a spell that allows you to say tongue twisters without tripping over your words. This spell is very useful, especially when you're trying to impress your friends or strangers at a party. Although it won't be enough for them to respect you, it might garner a small chuckle or a small nod of acknowledgement. B rank. As they continued their journey, they encountered a dilemma regarding a bridge that people couldn't cross due to giant bird monsters generating gusts of wind that blew away anyone attempting to cross. Upon completing that quest, Frieren was rewarded with a spell that allows for perfect pancake flipping, plus the ingredients. I'm not sure if there's a secret art to pancake flipping that I've been unaware of, but I doubt that skill alone translates to better pancakes. I was initially inclined to give it an F, but since the ingredients are included, I'll give it an E rank. While the party was en route to El Dorado, Frieren received a personal quest from Lernan to assist the El Dorado barrier warden. To ensure Frieren accepted this quest, it was accompanied by a grimoire. However, the details of this grimoire were never revealed, so let's move on. The next spell is a favorite of both Frieren and Flam. It's the spell to create a field of flowers. Among all the spells Flam taught Frieren, this one is her favorite. While I mentioned earlier that I'm not a fan of flowers, mainly due to the impracticality and high cost of them as gifts, I'm well aware of the value of this spell. It has the power to beautify a place and lift people's spirits. You can ask Hyder, Eisen, and Himmel. A rank. When Frieren arrived at a village in the Ernst region, situated between the Empire and the Northern Plateau, they were asked by a villager to deal with a tough monster that ravaged people's vegetable fields but did not harm the villagers. After resolving this mysterious issue, they were rewarded with a spell for creating far-flying paper airplanes, ensuring that their planes could reach high altitudes without worry. Imagine the impression you'd make, especially on children if you possess this ability. C rank. During their journey through the Northern Plateau, they were approached by a herbalist from a local village in the Wissen Mountain Pass. The herbalist requested their assistance in investigating a mysterious fruit that had never appeared in the area throughout his years of practice. As a reward for undertaking this quest, they were offered magical potion ingredients. Since the story has yet to reveal the creation of useful potions from these ingredients, their importance remains undetermined. E rank. Shortly after Frieren and her companions entered Imperial territory, they came across an area ravaged by monsters. A villager mentioned that they had already requested help from an Imperial patrol but received no response. Thus, it fell upon our heroes to resolve the issue. As a reward for their efforts, they received a vase that induces nightmares. Simply sleeping near it triggers its effects. If you've been experiencing a streak of overly sweet dreams lately, this item could offer a change of pace. After all, an excess of positivity isn't always beneficial for your health. D rank. Frieren and her companions continued their journey, eventually arriving at the ruins of the Titan Fortress, which was once an impregnable stronghold used during the war against the demon army. The fortress had been ruled by the army family for generations before they were stripped of their titles. It was there that they met a descendant of the family, who asked for their help in retrieving the family treasure hidden within. The party was initially offered half of all the treasures found, but Frieren was not interested in chump change. Instead, she sought the legendary spell to keep your body nice and warm. This spell is not only useful on chilly nights, but also provides the rare opportunity for someone to tell you you're hot from time to time. Or at least lukewarm, but you get the point. D rank. Hey, thanks for reaching the end. I just wanted to have some fun with this video since I couldn't find a way to approach this topic seriously, especially since the story itself presents them in lighthearted and comedic moments. Please don't take it too seriously. Despite that, I had fun making it, and I hope you found some value in it. Until next time.